Well, for starters, I wasn't expecting this one. It was on my Amazon wish list, but I wasn't in a hurry to grab it. But the wonderful Rebecca, who watches me on Twitch, twitch.tv/officialcdj for those who are curious, has apparently been very appreciative of the streams we've been doing, and said, thought I'd surprise you with a new figure to add to your collection, hope you enjoy it, and thanks for keeping me company, from Rebecca. So during lockdown, doing a lot of streams, Rebecca's been one of the best members of our community, the OM squad, and she decided to get me a little gift, which I thought was very, very sweet. That gift is Yelena Belova, from Black Widow, the 2020 movie, which we all would have seen by now, but we haven't, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, human lives, way more important than seeing a movie. But it does mean, of course, that Black Widow's in a bit of an oddity, because a lot of its merchandise has come out ahead of a film that should have been released by now. If we very briefly skirt the camera up there, you'll see from a previous video, there is Black Widow and Taskmaster from this movie. But now, to add to that collection, I have Yelena Belova. So let's have a little look at the back, see if it gives us any clues as to the character's role in the film. I know from the comics she's the second Black Widow. They're going for this stylized look for everybody. For the graphics this time, it's not photos of the toys. But yeah, so Yelena Belova. Let's get the focus going there. A product of the Red Room's ruthless training program, Yelena Belova is a fiery assassin. So again, super vague, like the previous two bios were for Black Widow and Taskmaster. But sure, whatevs, I'll take it. If it means we get a cool action figure with Build-A-Figure parts for the Crimson Dynamo. Stick around. Well, for starters, Crimson Dynamo. This came in sort of separate pieces. The shoulder pads clicked in, based on the packaging on the back. The pipes come out of the right shoulder. The back piece is a separate piece, which is weird. Not sure why. But it is, and they click in. They're quite rubbery. But, you know, there it is. I only have, whichever part it was it came with, the Tasha, the left leg is the only other part I have, so I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this one, because I don't currently have any of the other figures in the set. I'm not in a rush to get the comic book ones, I only tend to collect the MCU figures currently. But anyway, this is an oddity. So she comes with the current kind of range of classic accessories, which is at least one spare pair of hands. In this case she has two gun hands and one pair of closed fists. The figure came with one of each already installed. She comes with two pistols. That are very, very detailed, small, brilliant. No holsters for them, which is completely fine. Natasha, we were kind of spoiled with Natasha in this range because she has attachments for all of her weapons. Like, you can put them on her, her pistols, her batons. So, you know, I wasn't expecting that with everyone. First up, the massive pros of this. The scan printing likeness stuff that they've got going on at the minute is pretty great. It's definitely a vast improvement over the Star Wars Black series. That was the first figures I noticed using it a few years ago. Like, the features are sharper, you can definitely tell it's the actor. Like, it is a nice solid scan of the actor. But the paint application is still rather weird. As you can see from this one, she's got quite a few weird little scuffs on her. Like on her nose. Now, I don't mind that, because obviously she's in combat, so I don't mind there being a bit like dirt on the character's face, but it seems to be a recurring thing, so I hope that, you know, going forward they can nail that and get rid of it. Standard articulation in the ankles with the pivot and the thingy. Don't be fooled by the boots. One of these has a gap in the boot where obviously the mould has been glued together. It makes it almost look like it is articulated at the boot. Maybe it is for other people, but for mine it seems like that is not the case, and I am not pushing it to find out. I don't want to snap her leg off. Double knee articulation, thigh articulation, which is of course hampered as it is with all characters with a gun belt by the gun belt, although in this case the gun belt has little sculpted knives on it. Oh, actually, I tell a lie, that is one pistol holder. Brilliant, then I can have at least one of her other guns on her. Fan-bloody-tastic. I didn't realise that was an option. Will it fit in? I don't know if it will. I'll play with it later. I don't want to break it on camera now. But yeah, so come on, little gun. There we go. No waist articulation. Rib crunch, which is actually pretty solid on this one. You need to sort of gently hold it and move into position. Sort of shoulder peg joint as has become the custom. Don't be fooled by that bend, it's not a upper bicep joint. The elbows seem to be going more along with these elongated slack kind of things now. I'm not a fan of that. I prefer the smoother motion of the ball joint, but you know, they still go sideways. The spare hands are articulated, the gun hands with a tilt forwards. And let's tilt that back up. Ooh. And the fists with a upwards motion. Now here's something that's odd. Natasha was like this too. This wave seems to not necessarily have the heads on a ball joint with a pivot. Come on, focus. It just has them on a neck with a ball joint. So excuse me, Florence. There we go. There's no articulation there other than like a little nudge. So it's quite a long neck with a tall ball joint. The socket is far up in the top of her head. The character's got a shaved head up to the bottom of her hairdo, which as you can see is quite high up the back of her head, if her head will stay still. Quite high up the back of her head. The Florence Pugh likeness is really bloody good. But I'd be interested to see in the film, is her head shaved that far up the back? Because when you look at it on the figure, it's just kind of odd. You know? I mean, because it's not got the socket at the bottom of the ball joint. It's just... her head either has to be up high permanently, which is weird, or like completely resting back on her chin on her neck, which looks totally fine until you turn around a bit, and then it just looks a bit odd. But all in all, her expression's a little bit more... well, there's more of an expression on this figure than a lot of them. They go sort of very neutral, but here she looks quite determined. So as a result, she makes for a pretty cool looking figure overall. My only misgivings with the figure are the ones that Hasbro seem to be putting into them now. Including is a really small one, but they've gone back to using plastic windows in the cardboard box instead of the plastic window being part of the slide out package. So they're harder to recycle now than they used to be. It's very strange. But I think that Yelena looks to be pretty freaking badass, and I can't wait to add it to the shelf next to Taskmaster and Natasha. Thank you for watching. Massive thank you to Rebecca for picking up my Florence Pugh Yelena Belova action figure. If you also fancy buying me a toy for me to review it, you can head to my wish list. The link will be in the description. Rebecca, thank you so much once again, and I will catch you all again very, very soon. Say goodbye, Florence Pugh!